Hey, welcome to some live drawing today. Today I'm going to be working on some B-roll for my other YouTube videos. Check those out. It's basically today's topic is the fan art. Is it legal? It's a little topic that's going to be in a future video here. We always call the Comic-Cons a pirate ship. So we're going to talk about, I'm going to draw a Comic-Con pirate ship. I'm going to draw a print wall. You know, those guys that print at the Comic-Cons with all their fan art prints that aren't even the artists. And I'm going to draw a little sketch about the secret sauce. And these are B-roll for my upcoming videos. So we're going to get right into it and start drawing those things. Real quick though, if you are wanting to support the channel, all you got to do is like and subscribe. It lets YouTube know who to send this to. Artists like you, hopefully. So let's jump right into the drawing because I've got a lot to draw today. Let's switch this up. All right. Yeah, so the first drawing I'm going to do, let me see who's in the stream here. Hey, Sasha. Hello. Mackie Doodle. Hello. Feel free to hang out, ask questions. We're going to talk about the ethics of fan art today because it's a topic that's in one of my upcoming videos, and I'm drawing some B-roll for that. So the first drawing is a pirate ship. So this is going to be like these are thumbnails. So I'm just going to draw them kind of small and then flesh out. I think I kind of already know visually in my mind what it's going to look like, but sometimes I'll do like 4 or so. But in this case, you know, I think it's going to be like a pirate ship shape. And the mast is going to be like a, well, I'll show you in a second. I don't want to spoil it. The mast is actually going to be something special there. There's going to be a captain here in the front, kind of pointing the way. I'm going to have to design this little captain out a little bit. So this ship will represent the pirate ship that is modern day Comic-Cons. And what I mean by that is, you know, technically, very legally, technically, you do not have permission to draw or sell fan art at these shows unless you have a license for it. And I'm going to talk about some of the history of my own history, what we see out there, some of the gray area that exists legally. I've talked to some, you know, hey, listen, I got to say right off the bat, you know, my wife's going to say, like, do not listen to DJ. He's not a lawyer. I am a cartoonist. So just keep that in mind. But I have talked to some lawyers about this, intellectual property lawyers, and I've done fan art. I've done commissions, and we're just going to I'm just going to talk about that as we're going. But yeah, straight off the bat, is it legal to sell fan art? No, not unless you have a license. But we see a lot of it. So how is it that we see a lot of that at Comic-Cons? So yeah, this is going to be the again, this is not the final drawing, guys. This is just the layout sketch for what this is going to be. And it might actually become a thumbnail for a future video about this. So I like to draw the thumbnails. Okay. So yeah, we're going to have a pirate captain here. He's going to be the captain of the fan art or the Comic-Con pirate ship. And this mast is going to be full of print, like print wall stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Like his fan art prints are going to be up here. So I'm just going to draw a bunch of those out. We'll fill those in with whatever those are going to be. That looks like a decent print wall, right? maybe back here. I mean, it depends on how much I want to noodle with this and how long this stream's going to be, but this could be a pile of bootleg, toys and things that people are making, bootleg crafts and stuff. And maybe some comic books here. We'll put some long boxes there, I think. And I think we need to, I don't know where the name of the ship would be. Probably here, the SOS Comic Cons. I'll get in here and draw this out. This is just my sketch, just my thumbnail sketch. We're gonna blow this up and kind of, I like to see what it looks like really small. So, if it's going to be a thumbnail on YouTube or something like that, it needs to stand out. You need to kind of get what it is that's going on here. So I want to have some waves, like they're in a stormy sea of BS. Maybe make the mask something fun. That could be interesting. I'm going to get into some stories. I'm going to try to be careful because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But yeah, I've seen some things at Comic-Cons that are very unethical and that you should probably try to avoid. Okay. So I think that's probably a decent layout for this first sketch. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one and just blow this up to real size. We're going to shut off those thumbnails and get around here to this. Great. I'm glad Mackie Doodle says he's definitely interested in this topic because I mainly just do fan art. I've never sold anything though. That's always important to say out loud that you've never sold anything, Mackie. However, there's a couple different topics here. I'm going to talk about them as I'm fleshing this out. So I'm just going to fade this out because I've got kind of just the layout there, what I want, but then I'm going to get in here and kind of do the actual pencils. I'm just going to pick it up. I'm going to stick to doing red pencil for no apparent reason, really. Just so my journey with fan art kind of began accidentally. Actually, I was thinking about this right before I turned the stream on. I thought it was something else, but then there's actually a new part of this story. So my first experience with fan art wasn't actually me drawing the fan art. I was at a show in like 2006, maybe 2007, and it was Pittsburgh Comic Con, and I had the Hero by Night book out, and it was, I guess a hit or whatever. And so I was selling a good bit of books. People were coming to the table. I think we were on the cover of the guide that year. So like people wanted to come and buy this comic and see what it was about. And it takes place kind of in a fictional Pittsburgh. So it was a nice little local hit, I'd say. And, I thought I was doing better than I'd ever done with any of my independent comics before that. And so I thought I was having a great show. Well, there was a guy beside me and he had the most simple setup. And I'm not going to say his name unless, maybe, I'm sure he'd be totally fine with me saying it. But maybe we'll actually have him on at some point, onto the actual podcast or something like that. That might be fun. But he's beside me and he's got this real simple setup. We're talking a 8.5 by 11 binder that's opened up with like some half sheet. Like when I say half sheet, I mean like half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet. Some of them were 8 by 10s, I think, on colored paper, and it was like Darth Vader's and some Ninja Turtles, all one tone. So it was just like one black and white piece. But then he would take like colored pencils and kind of highlight around them. on each print. So each print looked a little unique, but it wasn't. Anyway, I just remember sitting beside this guy. We were becoming, table neighbor friends. And underneath his table, he had a bucket of, I'm going to draw a cannon sticking out of this hole here because, keep the lawyers away, I guess. Underneath his table, he had a bucket, no kidding, a bucket of money. Full on $20 bills, and it was overflowing. People were coming up, buying these prints. And I think the thing that was really appealing, I wish I had a photo of it or something to show you, was that little extra effort that he put into his prints was like the colored pencil outline, the white outline. And I was just mesmerized because I'm immediately thinking like, this guy's never done anything for Ninja Turtles or Darth Vader or whatever. But you clearly know there's something off about it. Like this isn't legal that you're doing this, but good for you. I'm glad you got buckets of money underneath the table. And I would often get people come up to me at shows and say like, hey, will you draw me Batman? Will you draw me this or that? And I might do a little head sketch or something, but I wasn't really good at drawing live, even like doing stuff like this and talking. I just couldn't concentrate. And I just was really reluctant to draw full art commissions for a long time. For just those reasons. Like I didn't know if it was legal. I kind of felt like, does this make me a hack? It was very complicated. And then years later, I forget honestly what year it was, 2014. So we're talking almost 7 years later. We're at a Comic-Con and we're trying to pitch our new book called Godchild. We had it printed up and we had nice backdrop, all that stuff. And people knew me from Hero by Night, right? And they were like, where's the new Hero by Night stuff? And my wife and I just sat there, Alicia and I sat there and just watched people coming up going, hey, will you draw Batman? Hey, will you? And we didn't sell Aaron any books. So we're at home going like, maybe we should make a couple little sketch cards or something and have that. And maybe that draws the people in to what we'll talk about strategy with that in a minute too, because it's important. Maybe that draws them in, right? To your table, and then they like your art style. And people would always come up to me like, I like your art style. Will you draw Batman for me? Because I'm a huge Batman fan. Because they come to these shows looking for what they collect. You know what I mean? And I think I just kind of broke one time. It was like the perfect storm of let my dog out of this room before she barks. Beauty of the live stream. All right. I think one year I just kind of broke down because I was like, I needed extra money. Honestly, I was going through a divorce. I was setting up like child support payments, which everybody, yes, pay your child support. Don't be a deadbeat. But I was barely making any money at the time with that time of my life, and I was like, here's a chance for me, I guess, to make some quick bucks if I just have a print or something, or I started with some sketch cards and they just all sold out. I had little Batman sketch cards. So I started taking on just any kind of work that I could to make ends meet for myself at that point in time. And I really wanted to sell my own book. We're gonna go crazy with these waves here and just kind of get nuts. It's a stormy ocean out there in Comic-Con land. But yeah, I think that first show, it was Steel City Comic-Con. I think it was Steel City Comic-Con because they do like 3 of those a year in Pittsburgh. So it's right in my backyard. And I finally turned a profit, going back to shows. And I was like, all right, I guess I need to figure out a way to balance this. So I had my little books, and then the next show I did not have prints in the next show. But I had, I'll draw commissions, like quick sketch cards. So I started getting my speed up with the sketch cards. And I don't know what I want do that. I'm going to start with the mast here, actually. I kind of know what that looks like. I don't know what that pile of stuff is over here. So I didn't do prints. I don't remember when I started to do art prints, because I wanted to, like, hey, if I draw it live and it's one of a kind, that's better. That felt more special to me. So I figured out, I saw a couple other artists, I forget their names, Tom something or other from Star Wars art, doing these half sheets. So I got the colored paper half sheets, and I kind of did the tone thing with some Copic markers and whatnot. And, you know, that kind of worked. Like, people were just like, wow, this looks really cool. So, and the fans were happy, and it just made me feel good. I was like, okay, I think I see the value in this. Like, I feel a little about it, but it was bringing some joy to the fans that were coming, because these bigger publishers weren't there at these shows. So basically, I just kind of felt like maybe it was a service. Marvel and DC aren't at these shows, and by way of having these fan art people in Artist Alley, it kind of made it so that they could serve. You know, it's kind of a tricky thing. I've heard that they don't really. That's why they allow it, because it serves their fans without them having a booth at these smaller shows all around the country. That's been said to me from editors that I've asked. I'm like, how do you guys allow all this fan art to happen? Like, why is this legal? And they're like, well, it's not. It's a gray area, so we just leave it alone, because we're able to, Spider-Man and all this stuff could be there. But I would start to feel like, well, I haven't worked on these things, so is it and I don't really want to work on these things. Like, if I wanted to be the Spider-Man artist and I had a lot of Spider-Man art, that might make sense. But I was having a lot of feelings about it, because it wasn't just about the money for me, even though at that time it kind of was about the money. Like, I needed to make some money to pay bills and stuff. So as it developed, I came back to the next show, and I did about 15 shows one year, something like that, 15 or 17 shows. And I still had my little books, but the thing that sold the most was fan art and commissions. And I started to be okay with it. There was shows where I was pulling in, you know, a couple $1,000 a show, you know. And I had return users, return fans coming back and collecting my art, and then sending me photos of their stuff in their house where they have got a little wall of my art. And it was neat, kind of weird, but neat. That they got like a little shrine of my art on their walls. It's a weird feeling. It's not, but it felt good too, to know that someone appreciated the art and was putting it up. What this is going to be here, if you're just tuning in, this is a pirate ship that's representing a Comic-Con, and how Comic-Cons are pirate ships with trademark stuff. And if you want to support the channel, you can always like and subscribe to support the channel. And we have the Draw or Die Company here, where we do a weekly motivational newsletter, daily drawing prompts, and merch to keep you motivated and drawing every day. So I'm going to plug that occasionally here in this live stream. Yeah, so I mean, I started to get really formulaic. It was really funny though, because, you know, before all of this, I was doing web comics before, and I was doing pretty well with web comics online, you know, early on, early 2000s, 1999 through whatever, 2006. And I was like coaching artists online about making money online and stuff like that. So now at these shows, the things that I was doing, I'd come back to the next show and there would be a guy like right across from me, because we would lock these tables in, or a couple spaces down, and they're mimicking what I was doing, because they were like, how is he selling so many things? And I'm like, it's not about the look of how I'm setting it up. It's about the style and being personable at these shows and really enjoying doing it. I think people can kind of feel when you're there just to make a buck. But my dog's going crazy in the background there. Sorry. Yeah, so I feel like people could feel whenever you're just there to make a buck. And I was there to make a buck, but I was also there to have fun and deliver a service and that joy when you would show them their artwork. That was the thing that got me. I still kind of miss that a little bit. Gonna put a little flag up here, right? Yeah. It's a little low, but put a skull flag up there. And yeah, so I did that formulaically. Like I said, 15 to 17 shows in the 1 year. It was a grind on the weekends, all around kind of the East Coast, Northeast, mostly Ohio and Pennsylvania. And we went to Baltimore Comic-Con 1 year. And yeah, so we also started to do art shows. And like I said, it was just funny to me that I'd come back and people, they weren't even talking to me. They would just like copy what I did. Like I'd get some IKEA stands and I'd find like cheap stuff and they'd be like, well, how did you, and I'd see them looking, and then the next show they were using the same stuff and the same stands. But I would always have something different at the show. I didn't just have the one thing going on. So it kind of became like people would start to talk to me about like, how are you selling so much more prints? Is it your price? Is it your like all that stuff? And my next video too on YouTube, my big video, that's why I'm drawing this piece right now, is about 29-cent art prints. There's a big secret amongst the Comic-Con crowd that you can get really high quality art prints for 29 cents, and then you're selling them for 10 or 15 bucks. You're making money hand over fist with those prints. So I'm going to show exactly all about that in this next video. And the reason I'm drawing this right now is because I needed some B-roll for this topic, but then I also realized that this is a really good topic to talk about. No one wants to talk about it, like the gray area of, is fan art legal, is it illegal, that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, I'll get on here and have a discussion about it as I'm sketching out this B-roll. So yeah, and my story kind of ended there where I stopped doing the shows just because it was kind of burning me out a little bit. And also I had this massive collection building of hundreds of drawings of fan art of other characters that I didn't own. And I didn't want that. So that didn't really match my pillars for what I wanted. I didn't want to be known as the fan art guy. And suddenly I was starting to get known as the fan art guy. All right, we're going to draw a captain here. So focus on this for a second. And yeah, I was getting to be known as the fan art guy, and it just started to make me feel kind of like a hack, to be honest with you. And I don't say that to like insult anybody out there that's doing fan art. I still do some fan art and commissions for people, but the bottom line is it's not illegal to draw fan art. It's illegal to sell it if you don't have a proper license or connection to the brand. You need permission from those publishers and whatnot. And it's been told, the unwritten rule, which is kind of BS. You'll hear people say this, but I have heard it from editors at like Marvel and DC. And they'll say, yeah, we just don't even bother with it. But if somebody was like selling 10,000 prints and putting them up online, you're gonna have someone knocking on your door and saying, cut it out. It's got to be underneath the radar. That's how they won't do it. But an interesting topic for this, and you should talk to lawyers about this. Actually, not to me, but I have, and they said, trademark law is that you have to defend your trademark, and if you don't defend your trademark, you can lose it, and then it's open season. So now think about this. My argument was, well, these Comic-Cons have been going on for 20 or 30 years. It's even more so now. 40 years? I don't know. But I don't know what this pirate guy is going to look like, but I wanted to represent a Comic-Con artist who's also a pirate. So we're just going to draw a little cartoony in here. kind of want him to have a big Captain Crunch hat. Or a pirate. I'm not using any reference here, so I'm just big pirate hat. No, I want it to cover his eyes. That's fine. But yeah, these shows have been going on for so long that you could make the argument that technically they've lost the idea that they could even sue a Comic-Con artist for selling art prints. And that's why it hasn't been done. Do you see any stories out there about that? No. Because they legally can't now. Because they could lose their trademarks. Think about that. So it's just sort of like let's nobody talk about that. And whose fault is it then? As well, if it's illegal and the Comic-Cons themselves are allowing so much art to go in there, then is it the Comic-Con's fault? There used to be Comic-Cons that actually would like look at your what do they call, like not judging panel, you know. You'd have to submit what you're going to show, and you'd have to be the artist that made the product. And then that just kind of went out the window, you know. Pittsburgh Comic-Con, Steel City Comic-Con, Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con. You can walk up to any booth and it is a pirate ship. Hey, did you work on these? No, I didn't work on these things. I'm just selling because I know people like Ninja Turtles, you know. And that's, yeah, you know, that starts to feel kind of hacky. And I think for me, personally, I don't want to insult anybody that's doing that. Because I do know some people that's their main driver. And I kind of feel like my heart says, like, go get it. Do what you want. Roll those dice. You're on that pirate ship. Good for you. Get your money and get out. I'm all about it, right? Like, just do that. But for me personally, I started to feel kind of like a hack. You know, I like the craft of comic books more than the money aspect. I like the art and the storytelling and the history of it. I like the history. I like thinking about the old timers and stuff like that. And I like having those conversations with my comic friends, my comic colleagues. I've got a lot of, you know, like here on YouTube we have you will have Cartoonist Kayfabe, which Jim Rugg, Ed Piskor, you know, those guys are from Pittsburgh. I've known Jim Rugg since he was in high school. I'm quite a few years older than him, but they've achieved all the success, and they've done some work with you know, Marvel and DC and whatever. But they've gotten more. I think it's fair to say that they get more satisfaction working on their own stuff. The licensed stuff and that is just kind of a payday and a business part of commercial art. But, you know, I just get the feeling like, if I'm around those guys, I don't got much to talk about because I'm sitting here drawing Deadpool and, you know, like, I don't know. I saw Ed one year at, and there's a lot of respect. Like, there's a lot of respect amongst the creators. So I think I think they do respect me, but I also kind of just felt like I'm just being a hack right now, drawing this fan art, just getting that money, you know. But I saw Ed one year at, he doesn't do many shows around. I saw Ed Piskor one year at Three Rivers Comic-Con, and he said something that just hit me. And I think this might be the reason I stopped doing the fan, like, honestly, because he came to my table and he's like, "Hey, DJ, what's up, man?" And I'm like, "Hey." And my table was, he's like, "What are you working on?" I'm like, "Well, you know, we got this book over here," but my table was just full of fan art, you know. And Ed said something like, you know, he had some cool books, man. He's got like Hip Hop Family Tree, and but the one thing he had over at his table was a Public Enemy action figures, which I'm like, I need to get that, and they're over on my shelf over here, and they're like rare or whatever. Like, there's a limited run. No one cares about this. I mean, like, the general public doesn't care about it. Anyways, he said something to me about how everybody in the room, he wasn't buying anything from any of these other artists, but it was almost like this, like, gangster culture or something. Like he was the pimp on the corner, or the dealer, and like people would bring them, you go make that money at your table, and then you bring that money to me, and you're buying from me. I was like, oh, I just did that. I like sold some art, and then now I'm going and buying. I didn't mind buying from Ed, but now I'm buying I'm making the money, the fan art, and then I'm taking that money and giving it to him, and he's walking out with, bags. And I thought, man, that just kind of put a whole new spin on when I would say like Comic-Cons are like pirate ships. It's like a gangster's paradise out there too. Like, how many other pros think like that, where they're like, I got my stuff over here, and like they've got a captive audience of dudes that are drawing fan art that are going to be making that money at their table. And then you hear them say it too. They're like, oh man, I didn't make my table money back. And then they look underneath their table, and all they do is they've got like a bucket of books and fan art and toys and shit that they don't need. So, yeah, we'll get to parody in a minute, I think. I got a little checklist here about parody and mashups and things like that. I'm going to talk about that. But I don't know, that conversation, or that thought just stuck with me. Was like, what are these people doing? Are they just like glorified fans at shows that are just, boy, this is a really stupid looking pirate, but we're gonna just keep rolling with it. I'll make it work. It's only gonna be this big anyways. So, but yeah, that conversation really affected me, and I felt like even more of a hack after that. I mean, I don't think Ed would never say that. But I felt like, oof, I got to do something different. I got to stop this fan art game. So I stopped doing that. No problem with anybody else that does that. I'm all for you going and getting that money, like I said. But for me personally, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be a hack. I want to be have a little more respect for myself and for the art form, and even deeper than that. Like, I got some feels about how those original creators of those things didn't even get paid for those things that they should have gotten paid for, and suddenly you are some hack at a Comic-Con selling hundreds of prints. And I feel for those families of those creators. I don't know. I started to get deeper and deeper into this thinking. And I was just like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I just don't feel right about it. But, it's a personal decision, I guess. So yeah, when we're talking about fan art parody stuff, now that's different, because yeah, you can get away. I forget what the percentage is. A lot of people don't do enough of the percentage of changing something to make it a parody, but even then, oh man, that's a slippery slope of getting busted in the mashups and stuff like that. So there's a famous story. I don't even know if it's so old now, from the 90s. King Velveeta was an artist, really good cartoonist, but his artwork was very kind of like adult and violent, but he was like the King Cheese, and like he would do a lot of different cool stuff. I followed him for what you could follow on social media in the late 90s. There wasn't really social media. There was just like, he had a little website and a little blog, and he got sued from Kraft, the macaroni and cheese people. And they won, because they're like, well, it's a trademark, blah 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 blah. But I have a little VCR tape documentary on King. It's called The King Cheese or something like that, and it's about King Velveeta and how he had to change his name. But he got, he thought, well, this is parody law. Like, I'm cheesy. My artwork is super cheesy, and my name's King Velveeta and all this stuff. And they're like, no, it's not going to work. And you could say like, oh, this is Spider-Man as a Halo trooper. Okay, you might. The reason that you're getting away with it is because, like I said, the companies just aren't paying attention. If you launch that product as something big, you'd get shut down in a heartbeat, guaranteed. The other thing I say often is the superhero happy hour. The word superhero, my friend Dan Taylor and Chris Faison had that book, Superhero Happy Hour. They had to change their name. They got a cease and desist from Marvel and DC because Marvel and DC co-own the word superhero. They actually co-own it together, which is super weird. It doesn't feel right. And you're not allowed to have the word superhero in any title of anything, and you will get a cease and desist if you publish a comic. They might have gotten away with it if they were just small artist alley zine guys, but Superhero Happy Hour was a good book, and it was starting to get some press, and it was starting to be featured, and they were like, nope, and they had to fold. Like, they had to change their name. They couldn't fight, those legal bills and stuff like that. At the time, I was such a fiery young cartoonist that I was like, Dan, you gotta fight the man. They have to come to my house and shut me down. And he's like, dude, I can't do that. So I totally understand now. I don't know what's going to be in the back of this boat. Yeah, don't get high on your own supply. Indeed. This is a good topic here. Where does parody law come from for artists like Abby Stabby who draw fan art of celebrities? So I have to tell you this, since my day job is over at Spread Shop. We do print-on-demand merchandise. And there's a lot of artists that think that they can just do fan art of celebrities because, they're public figures. That's not true. Their likeness is owned by that celebrity. So if that celebrity found out that you were selling prints of their face and they really wanted to do it, they could sue you, or they could cease and desist you. Not like someone else said there, MF said, I think, that, there's a thing about not wanting to punch down on the little guy for that stuff. So sometimes they just overlook it, but it is not legal to do it. So if you're worried about that, you might not. I don't know what goes back here. What else at Comic-Cons would be, I'm just going to draw a little Spider-Man doll. I'm going to do that. Spider-Man doll. So like this, what I'm doing here would be considered parody. I'm not selling the idea that this is Spider-Man's boat and he's a main character. He's just a little toy in this boat. So that's a good example of parody law. We'll do a couple more actually, because I think that's what's going to be up on the banners for sure up there. Fan art banners. I'm going to do the usual suspects. Toys. I won't ink this today. I'll just do some sketches because I actually want to get on to some of the other drawings as well. I have to do the print vendor guy. Gonna sketch that out. Right. We'll get that. Spider-Man doll. What else? I'm gonna have to think of some other like toys and things back here. If you have character ideas for top things at Comic-Cons now that I won't have to really reference, just throw them in there and I'll draw them in here as like prints or whatever. That could be fun. But yeah, let's just draw a couple little dirt. Like they're going to be really small, so it doesn't really matter how big they are. Pants. Long boxes of comics right there. Yeah, I'm not happy with this part of the drawing here, but that's okay. I think it's going to be like bins full of prints or something. Art supplies, maybe. Commissions. Oh, you know what I wanted to do was like, I wanted to have the guy's offerings taped to the side of, taped to the side of his boat. Head sketch. Now, it is important to say that at these Comic-Cons, there's a lot of, networking and things like that going on. There's a lot of editors that are around looking for work. So it's a balance. You might want to have a portfolio of something that you're looking to get into, or you have a mission on that besides making money, it's about networking. So I think at one of those Comic-Cons, I actually met somebody from like some trading card companies or something. That's a hustle too. Like, and I got to do some Star Wars trading cards. I don't know what came first, Star Wars or Marvel. I did the Marvel Masterpieces first. So I was official sketch artist on the Marvel Masterpieces when that first came back. And those jobs really don't pay well. But I noticed a whole series of artists that were like setting up at these shows that were like, I was on the Marvel Masterpiece set, so suddenly it makes sense that, you're getting a picture of Deadpool from him or something like that. So I was one of those guys. And I guess just the point of, yeah, have your own art style, have your own characters too. Like, bring your own characters to these shows, and someone sees that character, and like the fans are already thinking like, I'd like to see you draw Ninja Turtles in your style. Well, of course, an editor that's roaming the floor might see that too. But if you look like a huckster that's like, 5 for 10, 20 for that, they don't want to deal with you, really, unless your art's like stunning. But if they see a line of people around, your table when you're live drawing or something, and you've got a sick style, yeah, I got some offers at Comic-Con. So those are great places to network and really do it. But if you're just there for fun and to be a fan and to spend your money, that's fine too. There's a culture around it. But if you're on that other side of the table and you're paying to have a table space, it shouldn't just be like a clubhouse spot. You should be there to make business happen and try to do it as legal as possible. There are other people that do certain crafts and things like that around. It's a really gray area. It's a slip. I want to make a whole video about that. Maybe actually get some trademark lawyer on there to be like, I'll say something and he'll tell me if it's true. Is that true? Is that passable? Is that a gray area? And I can almost guarantee you that most of it's going to be a gray area. All right. I don't like this flag up here. Let's get rid of that. I'm actually going to change the size of this a little bit. Kind of just lower it. And that's almost ready for inking, although I don't know what's really going to be in the back of that boat. You'll have to tune in to see what the actual finished piece of that looks like. When it's done, I'll figure that out. So head sketch, $8. $8. What else? Fan art. Drawn here. It's definitely a lot of work too. When I was doing those shows and we found out about, I made more money at this thing called Twin Lakes Art Show, which was basically an arts festival that had nothing to do with comics, but we had a little comic section there. and my prints would just sell out. The second time I did that show, I made more prints because the first time my prints sold out in a couple days, and I started to try to make it more legitimate. Like my prints were like things that I kind of worked on. So like I had some Walking Dead prints because I did the Walking Dead card set. So the card sets that I'd done, Marvel, Walking Dead, and Star Wars card sets, I had art based on that for prints because I had a lot of people, the collectors of those card sets, would find me and come to the table and have me draw things and sign things for them. But yeah, just it's a lot of work to go to those shows and do those things. I started doing sketch covers too live. That was interesting, but still, it wasn't fitting into my pillars or making me feel very fulfilled. Which kind of led me to stop doing it and then start kind of reevaluating where I wanted to be with art and inspiring other people. So I don't want to dissuade anybody from doing fan art. As a matter of fact, it's not illegal to do fan art. You can sit here on YouTube or draw fan art all day long. You could do some one-off commissions and stuff, and no one will ever know about that. But if you're exchanging money for stuff that you don't own, yeah, that's a gray area and that's illegal. So end of story with that, I guess. All right, so what I'm gonna do with this one, you know what, I'm gonna draw a little bit more. We're gonna draw just some like, basic shapes of things that could be on like action looking shapes, and then I'll fill them in with who they're gonna be. Like right. We'll get in there and flesh those out. As long as you don't sell it, then it's fine to do. That's probably a nice, safe bet for sure. You have to decide what you're willing to do, what the chances that you're willing to take are. This is also a fun way to kind of just work on some like just gesture. Like they're just going to be really small, so they don't need to be. I need them to be more like iconic shapes so that you understand that it's like a print. Oh, let's just do like a fake Wolverine one here. Do that. That's a pretty iconic silhouette that everyone knows. Yes. The claws. This does not have to be perfect. This is just going to be like a nice little thumbnail drawing. Very small. Now I'm in the like really pixel land here. I don't know if you can see. Like, there's always a tendency when you're drawing digitally to like zoom in when something's going to be so small that it doesn't matter. You can really noodle yourself to death with this. So I shouldn't spend too much time on this. If this were like a paying job or something, I would already be out of here. I would not spend too much more time on these little things. Could not be clear who it is. And I got a couple more to do. So like, let's just do like a fake, what would be kind of like a fake Hulk. Big bulky body there. Filling up most of the page. I drew a lot of Hulks because I did the cover of one of those Hulk 100 books. So I got known as like, I was like, hey, I'm not really a Marvel artist. I mean, just because I did to me, there was people that were having me sign these big Marvel. I don't know how to describe what they are. they're like big posters that say like something in the middle, and then they have different artists from Marvel. Like George Perez was on one that I drew on, and I felt like I don't deserve to be on this sheet with George Perez. Are you kidding me? Like, but yeah, technically I drew stuff for Marvel. I got a paycheck for Marvel, but I never felt like, well, if I didn't work on a book, that to me, that I think that's the marker. Like if I didn't work on the interiors of a book, I never really considered myself a Marvel artist. Same thing with Star Wars, or I don't know how you call yourself a Star Wars artist just because you worked on you know a cover or something, or not a cover, but like sketch cards or something like that. But there's a whole little cottage industry of Star Wars sketch card artist guy, and I just technically I was one of those guys, but you know, unrelated, but have I ever tried digital sculpting? Nope, I haven't. But I've tried real sculpting. I used to do some, so I'm sure it's similar to how you can, if you can draw 2D really well, you usually can sculpt some things out. So yeah, just gonna go faster with these guys. They're usually like a lot of, Wonder Womans and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyways, I just didn't feel right to be like, I'm a Marvel artist, and then like, no, didn't work on the book. Like, And the real guys, the real guys that have, they kind of just go, okay. They don't say anything because they're professional, but behind closed doors, they're like, yeah, okay. So yeah, I just don't do that anymore. Right. Okay, so we have a couple more of those. So what this is the pirate ship. If you've been watching this, listen to me talk, and you want to support the channel, just like and subscribe to the channel. Tell other people about it. And occasionally I'll pop on here and do some live drawing. This is for some B-roll for my other video that's about art prints and how to get art prints for 29 cents. And that's coming out tomorrow. So, but this one, I'm just gonna finish up this sketch. I wanted to redo that flag a little bit there. I guess I could just draw a little crazy skull on there. I'll ink that in later. Maybe I'll come back on a longer stream or another stream too in the future and just kind of be inking these out and drawing these out. So figured might as well, if I'm drawing these, come online and kind of talk about them as I do them. So I think we need a Deadpool up here and a Harley Quinn. Oh my god. If I had an extra $1 for every time I drew Deadpool and Harley Quinn at a show, oh my god, I'd be a multi-millionaire. No. But yeah, drew a lot of Deadpools and a ton of Harley Quinns. Oh boy. Right. And I think for like Harley Quinn, I would like the classic. Oh man, okay, the classic Paul Dini Harley Quinn. That's the one that I like to draw. But most people were into the new, punk rock kind of Harley Quinn. But I like the Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, Harley Quinn was my favorite to draw. I think for this mast of art prints, I just kind of want to have something that people will go, oh, I know what that is. That's supposed to be Harley Quinn or whatever. I don't have any reference right now. I'm just kind of drawing off of what might be, what it might look like. But from a distance, you're going to know, oh, that's Deadpool, that's Harley Quinn. All right, great. There's the Hulk. He's a little bit. Let's give him a little up. What are the other ones I used to draw? A lot of Deadpools, a lot of Harley Quinns, a lot of Hulks, and I guess a lot of Star Wars stuff. Let's draw a really bad Darth Vader here. People will know it's Darth Vader, though, I think. When you do those sketch cards over and over again, you got to draw like 100 Darth Vaders. Oof. You start to get it down pat to where you know, like, oh, he's got this triangular mask thing and these little things, little dots. And you can draw pretty quick Darth Vaders. Yeah, another thing I was thinking of, and I don't want to go too down this rabbit hole about fan art, is what about there's a couple YouTubers that I follow. I won't say their names, but they've got quite a bit of couple million subscribers and stuff like that. They make money off of their ads on YouTube here, but the things that they're drawing are the fan art. So technically, the content that you're making money off of is the fact that you're drawing. So that's kind of a weird gray area too. But, if these big corporations wanted to shut down fan art, they totally could, for sure. But they don't. It's not in their best interest to do that, I guess is what I'm saying. Because they don't really have the budgets anymore to do all of the shows. There are Comic Cons and fan cons all over the map now, and okay, so what do we got? Yeah, they can't afford to go to all those shows and the booth setup and the costs. They just can't. That's what I was told. It's kind of weird. This pencil here. All right, so I think that one's looking pretty laid out. The next one that I want to do is start a new layer here. The fan art vendor. I don't know if you've ever been to a Comic-Con, and there's usually these dudes that have like gigantic walls of art prints. And I kind of want to convey that by like drawing out some like perspective. And then I want it to be kind of like going like this. I want it to be so like, yeah, okay. In my video, I say something like, don't become one of these wall art vendors. Don't do that. And then we get a little crazy with the perspective here. I don't like that. No, that's not enough. I want to get extreme here. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this. Get rid of this. I want his table to be down there. I want to have like, it's not making much sense right now, but it will in a minute. All right. He's going to be down here. His little table. His prints. Yeah. Oh, I hate the wall of prints crowd. I know, like some of the conventions, it was a new thing to me. Like I hadn't been to conventions in for so long, and then I'm starting to do them regularly. And I was setting up, and as everyone's doing their setup night out in the main hall, there would be like, oh, you know, a little guy, little hat. We're gonna draw him out here. He's got a little hat. I want him to be saying something funny there too, so he can be saying something. And then there's just this wall of, you know, art prints. I didn't know. This is gonna probably do me in as far as like, I don't want to draw every single art print, you know, but they're like 11 by 17 art prints. So let's get the proportion right, and then we'll just sketch some things in. Actually, it's a good practice for gesture drawing, so I'm just going to do a lot of like, you know, silhouettes and stuff like that. But like, it's completely ridiculous. Don't be this guy is kind of the the message. Yeah, it's funny is when you're setting up at conventions and like you're like, oh, you hear the other guys like groan, go like, oh my god, it's another art vendor or another print wall vendor. And they just try to go higher and higher every year. And you're like, you're over here, you know, you're behind this guy. Your table is behind their table, and like you're like over here. Well, over here, like, what the heck? I don't know if you can understand what I'm going to be sketching out there, but there's that. Oh, oh no. Right. This is just the rough pencils here. I also feel like there should be this dark shadow of like the print wall. That'll be fun. If this was a YouTube video thumbnail, then like the words over here would be like, don't be this guy. Don't be this guy. All right. We'll do the lettering later, but. And then he's going to be saying like, I'm not even the artist. I'm not even the artist. Suckers. Right. God, if you've ever been beside one of these dudes, like, oh, it's a groan. They started to move them out into like the main commercial areas and out of artist alleys, but like, man, if a dude like this set up an artist alley, like I said, it's a pirate ship out there. But they would be like, this is like, let's just draw like what a normal setup might look like. You know, probably like that with a couple like art, maybe like 8 prints or something. You know. they would be over here going like, man. And then all these guys are just like hating life because like this guy's also undercutting them over here. Like he's selling his art prints for $2, and they got like $10 prints over here. Then there's the stories. Like I was following some drama online in the comic book world about um, these print vendor guys that were like just stealing art off the internet. So your free fan art that you're putting out, they were just taking it, up resing it, and then putting it on prints, printing them out, selling them on their art wall. I'm not even the artist, suckers. All right. I'm gonna fade this one out. We're gonna sketch this guy out a little bit. I might actually try to just go to some inks here for this. Let's see, that's too big. Too small. Yeah. Because there's not much to do on this. It's going to be very simple shapes. Some basic cartooning. Like he's got his little table down here. It's full of, tons of print books. Yeah, sometimes, like I said, when you're in Artist Alley and all the friendly artists are setting up, oh, hey, how you doing? And then they see this guy and he doesn't know anyone. And he just showed up with his thousands of art prints. And people are like groaning. And like some people are like, we're going to get him. We're going to cut this guy out of the alleyway. When the lights go out in Artist Alley, this guy's going down. It can get kind of dangerous out in those Artist Alley streets. Yeah. All right, so he's down there real small. This little table. Oh yeah. I know some people that go to those shows with their crafts and whatnot, or things that they've done, and they pull in quite a bit of money on those weekends. And then it's tempting when you hear like someone made 20 grand selling, I don't know, candles that have stupid names for the, how many of those popped up? It was like unique one year. There was a girl, I never saw anything like it. She had some cool candles and they had different flavored or different names for the scents. And it was based on nerd culture, like pop culture stuff, and geekdom, and it was fun. It was like a novelty thing. Like, oh, that's cool. And she wasn't breaking any laws at all. Like she was just making these candles and putting stuff on it, and she was pulling in tons of money. And the next year you come to the Comic-Con and there's 5 of them. Same thing with mini art canvases, like you get it Michael's Arts and Crafts or whatever, the little cheap mini canvases. There was a girl that came to the Comic-Cons and she made that her thing. She had like a table. It was very impressive looking because it was like little fan art things on little tiny prints and fully painted things that she was doing. Don't know how long it took her to do those, but very I don't want to give this guy a hat. He doesn't deserve a hat. He's so small, it's not even going to matter the details that I'm putting on him, actually. So we're just going to go with like some black hair. Right. Black shirt. Those highlights aren't going to matter either because they're so small. Get rid of those. Anyways, the girl with the small mini prints, she came back. She was there for quite a couple years, 3 or 4 years of doing those shows with her well, I don't know what to call it, her style. And then one year, this other lady came, very similar, and it was just like drama in Artist Alley. Drama on Facebook about this lady stole my thing. And it's like, it's not, you're not the first person to do something, so you can't lay claim to it. You just gotta, and if you're out there in those streets and those artist alleys, you gotta find a way to stand out and be different. There's gonna be people that copy you. And so my tips for people that were going to Artist Alley were like, what could you do just a little bit different? Just to make your table stand out without being obnoxious. Like, don't have a megaphone or something like that. And one of the things I would tell people is I started, it's usually the black draped covers like this that you get a black cover, or there's some people that they spend a couple $100 to get like their fancy stuff printed all over the banner, but no one really sees because they're walking in front of that table. So but what I would do, real simple, is I would get red or blue stretchy spandex canvas or covers for my table from Amazon, and I'd use those as like color, and I would change my color out every show. So red cover. When you had a red cover, like those prints would really pop out. That was nice. And then I'd come back to the next show, and there'd be people with, because they would ask me like, "Hey, where did you get those?" I'm like, "Amazon, $12." And then suddenly everyone had colored. So when they start to move and they start to do color, then I go to black, or, you have to kind of make yourself stand out in that sea of stuff somehow. And a lot of times people try to do that with their prices, and they try to undercut each other, And that was one of the things about getting these 29-cent art prints. I could have easily said $5 a print and really undercut everybody else in Artist Alley, but that's what these guys do with their walls of art prints that they don't actually draw. And yeah, you just got to kind of choose what are you in it for? It's a pirate ship out there in those Comic-Cons. Okay. So yeah, those are going to be art prints. And boy, why did I do this to myself? I have to at least draw a bunch of, fit headshots or something, like real mini ones in these. I don't want to start going too fast, but so I think this is going to be sort of like a YouTube thumbnail. So it doesn't have to be super detailed. You get the idea. It's going to be a wall of prints. It's about that time. If you're watching this and you want to support the channel, like and subscribe. It's the best way you can support this channel for free. Just hitting that little like button, subscribing. I go live occasionally like this on Saturdays or sometimes at night on the weekdays to draw some of my stuff. And then we also have a podcast every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. We talk about different topics, AI art, some of these things about Comic-Con tips, art business tips, motivational to keep you inspired in drawing. mainly for artists, but if you like to watch people draw, I do that. If you're looking to get into drawing, I also have Wednesday warm-ups, weekly warm-ups on Wednesday. We do gesture drawing and just little exercises here and there. It's a great way to keep yourself motivated and drawing every day. And I also have the drawing prompts. Let's do that real quick too. Quick plug. You can join us at the Draw or Die company, drawordie.co. I have a weekly motivational newsletter that comes out on Sundays, daily drawing prompts for the subscribers there. And we have some merch that motivates, like hats and shirts and stuff like that. So the Draw or Die Club, it's kind of like a nice virtual drawing club. A lot of good artists supporting each other. Good people, good folks. A couple of them in here watching live. Sasha. I hope no one takes this the wrong way. If I'm not making fun of fan art or people that do fan art. It's not about that. It's just about, we're talking about the ethics of it. Comic-Cons are a very gray area. Fan art is a very gray area. You can have an Etsy shop online and be selling some fan art, and it depends on the company that owns what you're drawing if they're going to come after you. Like some of the art I was talking about, we tried an Etsy shop once for some of the art after a show, and I had a Michael Myers, specifically Michael Myers. Whoever owns the license to Michael Myers, it's actually like a really small family or something that owns that, or like one or two people own the Michael Myers trademark, and they have a lawyer that just goes out there and looks for all fan art for Michael Myers. And so that's the only drawing that I had taken down off my Etsy shop was a Michael Myers thing. I was surprised by that, but they really protect their trademark. Pokemon is another one. And I know a lot of these from my day job, just because if you're doing a mashup of Pokemon, even if it's a mashup, that Pokemon company, oh man, they really aggressively defend their trademark. You can't even have anything that looks remotely similar. They will find you and they'll try, they'll find you. They'll take your websites down. They'll get at you. And of course, Disney, the Disney proper, like Disney princesses and stuff like that. I've heard more artists get in trouble for Disney princess prints. Even some videos flagged on TikTok and YouTube here. If you were drawing like a Disney princess type art, it would get copyright strikes and things. So it's very random. You got to decide to roll those dice, I guess. So, let's see here. This is the normal table over here. And someone asked earlier about one-off commissions and things like that. Again, the truth is, if you don't have a license to draw, or you're not connected or have permission from a company, then no, you're not even supposed to do commissions for one-off things or derivative work. You can't do it. But yeah, it's probably more so that you're not, if you're like you have a service where you're drawing fan art and they're actual original pieces, the odds of you getting in trouble are probably pretty low. It's just a chance that you have to decide to take. But the one-off fan art stuff is pretty good, I think, to do. And it's a good way of my friend Roberto Blake here on YouTube. He helps YouTubers. He did a lot of fan art and stuff coming up. Mostly his channel now is all about helping YouTubers and creators. But when I was first coming back into doing artwork and stuff online, his advice to me was to draw fan art, and I didn't want to hear it. I was like, okay, tell me what I should do for my channel. And he's like, DJ, if I were you, I would draw fan art. I would have a fan art stream and be drawing, whatever the hot thing is right now. And it's smart to do, because he's like, hey, if you're drawing the new thing and somebody's finding your art style and they like it, then they're going to stick around for your original pieces, your original whatever it is, your book or your webcomic or your art prints, things like that. So it's logical. It's a logical thing to do. I've thought about it, but I don't really want, on YouTube, I don't really want to mix up my audience too much. I want artists or people that enjoy watching art be done. But mostly this YouTube channel is here to support other artists and encourage them. So I don't really want like a fan of Batman coming in here watching 2 minutes of a video and bouncing out, because it kind of hurts the channel, to be honest. There's a whole art to the YouTube game. So in this particular case, I don't think I'd be doing like fan art streams. Now I'll do stuff like this where I'm drawing live, because there's, if I would have talked about, I'm drawing in Procreate right now, there's a lot of digital artists that draw in Procreate. And sometimes, and just like I'll do it too, I watch some of the drawing streams and I watch what are they doing inside of the app. I just kind of like watch other people's techniques and things like that. I think those are the types of people that I want to find on YouTube. Also, it would be nice to have, it's already kind of, the channel is kind of already doing that and growing a little bit. But there are people that are just now getting into art and starting their journey with art, even at different ages. So I've seen a couple comments from people saying that they're 60 years old and just now taking some art classes. And so YouTube is where they're going to like look for art tutorials and stuff like that. And they found the channel and they're like, this is really inspiring. And that's super awesome to hear. Let's see. Big fan of Daniel Warren Johnson. His streams show him working on comic pages and commissions and fan art. Oh, cool. I'll check that out. Check out Daniel Warren. I like, what's his name? Scott Christian Sava's on here, I think. I like watching some of his streams because he's, working in some different mediums, mostly like watercolors and like, acrylics and Copics and stuff like that. I like to watch those things too. So, anyways, that's why I don't do a lot of like, hey, this is a Batman fan art stream. I'm not going to do that on this channel. During a show or during something like this, if I'm going to draw, hey, I need to have Deadpool's face over here on this banner. It would be funny if like every single print was Deadpool's face. Draw Deadpool, so. You can be goofy with it too. All right, there's going to be a Deadpool. Hey, if you want some characters on this big print wall, just let me know in the comments or in the chat. I'll throw them in here. Let's do that class. This is a fun way to actually do fan art that's, legal. Would be. I'm not really, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to look off real reference here for this. I'm just drawing these in real small. They don't even need to be this big, probably. You know, they're gonna be tiny on a thumbnail. Harley Quinn. Oh, of course, Batman. All right, I'm gonna put Batman up here. These can be funny. Actually, I'm just gonna get kind of cartoony with this to go faster. Fill that in. It's pretty bad Batman. I guess that's the point, is that some of the art that's on these wall, you're seeing these kids buy these prints from people that aren't the artists, and like the art is bad as well. It's kind of like knockoff, you know. In this case, we're going to be just kind of wanting some stuff to look like a wall of art of characters. So, boy, you know, why did I do this? What the heck? He's going to be saying, I'm not even the artist. That's what it can feel like sometimes when you're at those shows and you see these print artists and they're making money hand over fist, and you're just there trying to sell your own little stuff, and they've got this wall of prints and they're just happy because they're making money hand over fist, and you're just kind of feeling like, man, I can't even pay my table costs, you know. So yeah, don't be this guy. I'll do the lettering for that. Fill in some more faces here. We're gonna do, I'm just gonna say, okay, we'll make a fake Wolverine here again. That's an easy one. I'm trying to think of some like iconic, when you see their silhouettes, you know who they are, sort of thing. Really terrible. That's a terrible Wolverine. Great. Whoop. All right. Maybe I should switch to some red here. Some pencils. I don't want to feel rushed because I'm here on a live stream. You know. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Move that up a little bit. Just a little bit. Bump it all the way up. Come on. Let's do that. That. I'm so out of the loop. If you put ambush bug. I think let's like, I don't know. Get my pencil out here. Darker red, darker red. Nope, too dark. I mean, I could probably just turn around and look at my shelf here for some. Oh yeah, okay. Wasn't really thinking of actually drawing like real characters, but you know, we're gonna do the thing right here. He's kind of like Rocky, right? They're all a lot of grimacing at these shows. A lot of grimacing. You know what? In this case, this vendor is just all headshots of characters. This is gonna be way easier. I'm just gonna do a Fantastic Four in these spots. So we're gonna go like Reed Richards. Mr. Fantastic there. Visible Woman. She can just be blank now. Face there. Be a little easier to ink in when I have like some heads. So yeah, we'll do Fantastic Four. And we have, of course, Torch will be easy. Human Torch will be easy to do. Since it takes a little while to get my character chops going. Now I'm like, oh, Ghost Rider or whatever. Like, yeah, when I used to do all those sketch cards, oh my god, I got to draw like so many Marvel characters to draw. Do right for. More like Baron's emo, right? So, right. Creature from the Black Lagoon. All right. Try that. Put him right here. I'm not using any reference here, so I think he's got a bald head. This. Just go with the face here. gonna be a happy creature from the Black Lagoon, though. Right. This is a really terrible creature from the Black Lagoon, guys. Should have went for angry. That'd be a fun video in itself, just trying to draw fan art from just memory. You know. All right. Hey, that's a good one. I'm gonna write that down in my to-do file. That could be fun to do. It's a really terrible creature from the Black Lagoon. It's like not like a knockoff Homer Simpson version of creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay. Freddy Krueger. All right, good. The Freddy Krueger, Freddy and Jason. Jason's an easy one I could put on here. Yeah. Right. Of course. Little Jason. It's like a derpy neck. He's all burnt up or waterlogged. And he always has a little jumpsuit on. Oh, moving too fast now. Hey, look at my knife. He's gonna point at this knife. You know? He's like, hey, you want me to kill you? All right, come here. Step right up. Great, there's that. Yeah, this will be I'm gonna yeah, I think this first top will be distinguishable who they are. But as it gets smaller and smaller, I won't have to get too detailed. Godzilla, that's a good one. This is not going to be Godzilla at all, but we're going to put it in dinosaur. Right. I mean, yeah. Okay, see, I'm starting to get it. All right, got this weird. Oh. He doesn't have pupils. Godzilla doesn't have pupils. Ah. Yeah, this will be enough to definitely distinguish a print the print wall vendor guy, the much hated print wall vendor man. Yeah, Godzilla. Hey, Gauze. You know what I'm talking about. Gauze, we're talking about print wall vendors at Comic Cons. So I should tell the Gauze story. The first time I met Gauze, Moses here, I was set up with a little your mama table and oh yeah, you know what? Now that Gauze is here, I'm gonna draw Thor up in this one right here. Maybe. This big dude comes up to my table and goes, "Are you DJ Kaufman?" And I'm like, "Oh shit," because I used to draw like a, comic that made fun of like Rob Liefeld, and this is not a good Thor, but whatever, man. Who cares? And I was like, oh, yeah. He's like, are you making fun of Rob Liefeld? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, this guy's going to kick my butt. And he's like, I'd like to shake your hand. And then we just became good friends. You know, I did like pop culture type comics, and he had a great mini comic. Actually, you know what? I got that right over here on the shelf somewhere. Let's see. Look at this, guys. It's always behind me here. Go big. Look at that. Tainted Smile. Where's your name? I don't know. It's on there somewhere. But yeah, I always got that on my shelf of my favorite mini comics of all time. Yeah. Yeah, it's always back there. I got all the old mini comics from back in the day. It's always inspiring to have somewhere nearby. Yeah, so if you've been watching the whole time, I won't recap it. For anyone else that's just jumping in, we're talking about the legality of fan art. Is it legal to sell it? No, it's not. Are you on a pirate ship? Yes. Yes, you are. And how that can only get you so far in the comic game. If you're known as the guy that draws Deadpool prints, then it's a pretty terrible Thor, all right, but from a distance, you know, cool. If this were a YouTube thumbnail that's like, don't be this guy, I think I would watch that video. So that's how that's how I'm approaching YouTube videos, is like, I think that if this was a YouTube video, like if I do a whole video about fan art and I just like, you know, keep it really structured like a YouTube video is, not a live stream. Don't be this guy. And it's all about how the fan art thing. Don't do that. What else? All right. Spider-Man, that's an easy one. All right. It's got the same. Guys, I hope you're out there still drawing a bunch of art. Occasionally I see stuff from you on social, but I'm not on Facebook much anymore, and I'm on Insta, but Instagram sucks as far as like showing my feed. Like I rarely see the people in my feed. A little bit of time that I have to mess around there. The good old days. Good old days of Pittsburgh Comic Con. Okay, that's enough of Spider-Man. Then we'll draw about him over here and we'll be done with that. All right, well done there. So yeah, I talked a lot earlier about if you're just jumping in and kind of skipping around, I kind of talked about my journey into fan art, how I stopped, why I stopped, how I may do it again. I mean, I guess this could be considered kind of me drawing some of these characters, I guess. All right, cool. I'll finish that part up in another video there, I think, or another session. But you get the idea. The idea here is, and I'm going to have this as B-roll in my current video, is don't be this guy, the fan art wall guy. And then I'll finish this up for a whole video about fan art, I think. So the next drawing I got to do today, and then we're going to get out of here, is just somebody in the comments. One of my other videos was like, damn, DJ, you're giving away the secret sauce. And like the next video is talking about how to get 29-cent art prints. That's coming out tomorrow. That's what I'm editing today. And I'm okay with giving away all the secret sauce because there's plenty enough to go around for everybody. the people that kind of guard these, who they're using to print and how they're making money with their art and stuff. I think that's foolish to keep it to yourself. So I'd like to see more artists making more money with their art. But I mean, that's the two things that I'm about is, number one, it's not just about the money. It's about, I think when you're in this for as long as someone like even Gauze here in the stream, you just feel it deep down. And when you're not able to draw every day, I shouldn't have started this big. I'm not paying attention. I'm gonna start small, like I usually do. Anyways, yeah, when you're not able to draw and you're stuck at the day job or whatever, and you're coming home and you barely have time left for yourself, there's you just kind of start to feel kind of dead inside. It just sucks. And that's the spirit behind the Draw or Die Club. Is that, if you're an artist out there and you've stopped drawing because of, I'm not making money at it, or I don't have a support structure around me, or it ruined your marriage or something, like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like if you're an artist, you got to do it. It's like you do it because you must. If you don't, then you're just dead inside. You're depressed, anxiety. I know all about it. And so that's what the Draw or Die Club's about, is like to help get through that. I don't just I don't do coaching about just full-time how to make money with art or something like that. Like, it shouldn't be about that. Yes, you can make a lot of money with your art, or at least a decent living for an artist, that's for sure. Your art might not be great enough to do that yet. I'm gonna just take this shape. And since Gauze is here, joined, we're gonna draw an old school Drew Price from your mama here. He's real small right there, but I'm gonna blow him up. Again, I'm starting to think like more like YouTube thumbnails. So for me, this is just a layout, and I'm like looking at like, okay, the focal points. Talk a little craft here, guys. The rule of thirds. You know what I'm talking about? You have like this, and these are the focal points. So your main figure's there. You're gonna have your title of whatever it is over here. That's kind of what I'm always looking at now. Little secret sauce there. If you lay out your composition that way. So in this way, I just like to sketch, fade that out. I got the basic shape, the basic silhouette of the drawing. I'll pop a new layer on that. And then we'll just get to it. And since this is the main, the main part of the drawing will be this bottle of secret sauce. And then I'll just get right to the actual sticker lines. At some points I can go to just straight up inks on this, but the more you go over it, the better, I think. But yeah, for me, it's been the most fulfilling thing this year, or this past 2022, to stop talking privately with artists and just kind of get out there and put out the Draw or Die brand and the newsletter and the motivation and stuff like that. I like it. I like to have those artists be inspired, because I don't like to hear stories about artists that off themselves or that are dealing with addiction. I hate those stories. I just hate seeing the legends of the past. Wally Wood and all those guys. There's so many sad stories, guys. Even artists, you'll never know their names. that worked for Marvel and DC and got jacked. I hate that. But also, I just think I'm always thinking about this, like how many artists are out there right now that are discouraged because of BS in their life that could have done something amazing. If only they would have had a little push from some dude on the internet, some random guy drawn on the internet. Maybe they'll go on to, be the next Walt Disney or something. But I have these conversations all the time now. All the time. Whether it's in comments or DMs, emails. People are like, hey, I found your content. You're really inspiring. Here's my situation. And I'm like, oh, I'm not a therapist or whatever, but I can at least kind of give some words of encouragement and say, like, hey, listen, whatever you're going through, you got to just hang in it, hang tight, hold fast. The whole it gets better thing, it does. I mean, life gets better, life gets worse. It's just life. You got to deal with it. You got to get a day job sometimes. Yes, most of the times you have to have a day job. I have a day job. I went back to a day job after doing this for 13 years. But I still draw. I still make money with my art. And now I'm able to just constantly try to encourage others and encourage myself to keep going. And that's my Jar Die Club. So, see, Gauze here says he's working on a new book, going back to those indie roots. The fan art scene gets tiring quickly, but eventually you just end up feeling unfulfilled. Yeah, that's definitely looks like he's got a 40. Maybe this head could be a little bit bigger, to be honest. Let's do that. Yeah, unfulfilling. I think the only thing that I said I missed about doing fan art is, or like art requests, let's call them. Because a lot of times it was really bizarre stuff, like really, really deep cuts where I'd have to do some reference and stuff for like different TV show B characters and stuff that, I never would even remember now. But I just like that joy of it. Whatever like for an artist, the joy of drawing is, what the heck was I doing with my hand there? Was I like testifying? For an artist, the joy of drawing is like the thing. Like if you're not drawing, yeah, there's just some energy about getting in that zone, and I like that the most. But for other people who maybe aren't expressing themselves through art or whatever, they don't really have anything else except for the things that they're following and doing and watching a TV show or getting a signature from some fan or from some celebrity. And, it's easy to make fun of that. Like go like, oh, I got a Star Wars nerd or something. But it fulfills them. It's something that they like and they enjoy. And then like also then that feeling, the thing that I miss the most, I think, about those shows is whenever like somebody, no one has any art for this obscure character, and you're able to draw it, whatever you see. So they give you some little picture on their phone, and then you're drawing it out. And when they see it, and there's nothing like it in that show, they're instantly a fan of whatever the hell you're doing. Like, I just can't explain it. Just that joy. Alicia and I used to say, like, wow, that's it. We would say, there it is. So we'd say, like, there it was. That's the look. The look of joy and the feeling of like, damn, You just spread some joy, and now you got a new fan. And then you'd come back to the next show, and they're like, "Hey, can you draw this?" Like they were timid. Sometimes, a lot of times, when you first meet someone, they don't want to ask. Can you draw this character? I don't know. I got this character, and I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that. Watch this." And just blow their doors off with some kind of cool little piece of art. They couldn't really. And then the next time they come back, now you've energized, now you've activated this fan, and now they're like, "I couldn't wait to come back to see you. Can you draw this? I got this and this and this and this," and they're adding it to like their collection now, and you're spreading joy. And I think that's that's a good feeling. I like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of going and setting up at shows though. Now it's just too much work. I'm old. I'm older. And I'm like, man, I gotta haul this stuff in here and be here all weekend. I'd rather be drawing, But here's the secret sauce. I'm giving it to you now. This is secret, not secret sauce. This is the real deal. Yeah, and I had to do a lot of deep work on myself too. And I talk about that on the streams and the podcasts and stuff like that. And like I had to do some soul searching, And someone said to me, well, I was doing some coaching with Lennon Bone. Shout outs to Lennon and Stop the Starving Artist. Checking out what he was up to. And one of his first exercises was call like 10 of your friends or text them and ask them, what do you bring into a room? And I think universally, they all 10 were like, I just feel inspired when I'm around you, or I feel encouraged and I feel this and that. And I was like, it made me like emotional because I don't ever really see myself like that. I was just having a good time and having fun and trying to be helpful to people. But they weren't like, we like your art. We buy your books. We like your stories. They were like, we just like being around you. And every time we're around you, we feel like we can do things. And I'm like, what? Like, that's crazy. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to lean into that because that's the whole thing. Find your pillars and lean into them. So I had to fight with that though. I was like, I don't want to be the inspirational guru for art. I don't want to do that. Just like I stopped coaching for money because I felt bad for creators that were struggling. And I can show you, I can go, this is a method that you could do. But if they weren't able to do it, then I felt some sort of like I failed them, in some way. Right. There's the secret sauce. But now I'm okay. Like I feel like I'm comfortable. I'm way more comfortable talking about these things because I know that it helps other artists that are going through the crap that's out there in the world. So, yeah. And, if you're feeling that, you're new, like and subscribe to this channel. That's how you can support us. You can join the Draw or Die Club at Draw or Die Co. We've got weekly motivational newsletter, drawing prompts, and merch to keep you motivated. Got some buttons, stickers. Have some more stuff there soon. Working on some notebooks and drawing supplies, fun stuff like that. All takes time. I'm gonna draw some lettering now. I think for the new year, I'm kind of getting into lettering too. I like, using fonts and stuff is fun too and easy, but I miss just drawing out some weird cartooning lettering. cartoony lettering. Yeah. Secret sauce. I don't know why it's been appealing to me to see like some of the streams on TikTok, and there's another guy. What's his name? It'll come to me in a minute. He does like graffiti art, typography, and I bought some of his Procreate brushes. His name is... Well, let's look. I got it right here. Let's see. Little plug for him. Color pack. It is, if I just go in here and see who he is about this brush. Snooze One. Really, I watched a YouTube video about him. It's a German student that's doing typography, hand art on the iPad mostly. And I was just like, oh, those are nice. Those are neat brushes. And I just started thinking about stuff I used to do a long time ago. Oh, I don't want to be on that. And yeah, I just really like the... that's not it. What are we doing here? I really like the hand art stuff, and I think it looks cooler than fonts in like YouTube thumbnails and stuff like that. I don't know, just my opinion. Something that makes it look more unique, you know. Secret sauce. And then we'd have like a scroll here that says free. Yep. But yeah, there's just something really meditative about watching someone else do hand-drawn lettering, and I'll zone out on those videos. I'm like, I want to do that. The secret sauce is always free. Hello. I'm almost done with my little live stream. Got a coffee delivery. I've been talking the whole time. I haven't. Is that Presto? Yeah. What is it? Starbucks maple coffee. Starbucks. Hey, Alicia's here. Say hi, Alicia.
Hi. Bye.
That's delicious. Get yourself a woman that brings you coffee when you're on the live stream. It's great. She came in to give me hot coffee, and I have a full coffee sitting there that's cold now that I have not touched. And she like kind of motioned to it, like, what's up with that? Like, I don't know, talking here. Right. Alicia, of course, is on the Thursday night podcast, 8 p.m. EST. Tune in, go back, watch some of the previous ones. We talk a lot about this. We just had a really fun one the last time. Last Thursday, kind of went off the rails. Kind of enjoyed that. Talking about Yellowstone. So just having a lot of fun. Sure am blessed. I sure am blessed. I'm not a spiritual person, but yeah, I'm a lucky guy, I guess. We'll say that. I stay lucky. And yeah, okay, so that's pretty much all I need for the B-roll here. Again, if you are watching, and please like and support the channel. Tell other artists about it if you'd like to. Tell them how awesome it is. And join the Draw or Die group virtual drawing club at drawer.co. And of course, we've got other videos on this channel to help support and motivate you, keep you drawing every day. And I hope to see you back here soon. And check out my new video. You're going to see some of these things that I just drew in this as B-roll in the new video about 29-cent art prints. So check that out, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks again for watching, Gauze. It's nice to see you, or virtually see you. I wish you were around. Glad to see you're still out there hustling, my friend. All right, great, guys. I will see everybody in the next stream, and it's been real. Thank you. Thank you for watching. You're amazing. Draw or Die podcast is on Thursday nights. Weekly warm-up on Wednesdays is at 8 p.m. And then we do the regular videos throughout the week. See you soon.